Welcome to English Stories Academy.
It's not just motivation. It will also boost your English and strengthen your mindset. Whatever you want in life will try to destroy you before it builds you. And the reason you're not unstoppable yet is because you gave up during the destruction part. You thought it was failure. You thought it was bad luck. You thought it was the world hating you. But it wasn't. It was the price. The price of becoming something the average mind will never understand. Let me tell you the brutal truth. Most people will never become unstoppable. Not because they're weak, not because they're poor, not because life was unfair, but because they keep chasing a version of themselves that feels good instead of building a version of themselves that wins silently. They want to be respected without being rejected. They want to be loved without being alone. They want success without sacrifice. They want power without pain. And that's why they stay stuck. That's why you're stuck. You say you're waiting for the right time. You say you don't feel motivated. You say life is too hard right now. But listen to me. Unstoppable people don't care how they feel. They don't ask permission from their mood. They don't wait for someday. They move through pain, through fear, through rejection, and through boredom. You want to know why most people can't become unstoppable? Here's the real reason. They worship comfort. They'd rather scroll for 3 hours than work for 30 minutes. They want peace, but won't clean up the chaos in their mind. They want to rest. But for what? They haven't even started. They're addicted to motivation, not movement. They love watching videos like this. They love the fire, the music, the voice, the quotes. But the second the video ends, so does their energy. Unstoppable people don't get hyped. They get consistent. They lie to themselves. They say, I'm doing my best, when deep down they know they're not even close. They say, I'll do it tomorrow, and they've been saying that for 5 years. They say, I'm trying, but they never changed, not once. They're afraid of being alone. They need people to cheer for them. They need someone to hold their hand. But the path to greatness is a lonely road, and they're too scared to walk it. They don't have standards. They have habits. And those habits are killing them. Sleep late, eat garbage, think negative, blame others. Then they wonder why they feel weak every day. You want to be unstoppable? Then stop chasing pleasure. Stop needing permission. Stop running away from the pain and start running through it. Because here's what no one told you. The most unstoppable people on this planet, they're not loud, they're not special, they're not lucky. They're just the ones who didn't stop when everyone else did. They were tired, but they still showed up. They were heartbroken, but still moved forward. They were doubted, but didn't explain themselves. They were scared, but didn't run away. And now they look like superheroes. But back then, they looked just like you. So the real question isn't, how do I become unstoppable? It's, can I finally stop lying to myself long enough to become the person I was meant to be? Because I'll tell you the truth. There's no secret. There's no shortcut. There's just a decision. And if you're ready, then this video will break everything that's been holding you back. Now say it, not to me, but to yourself. No more pretending, no more waiting, no more average. I'm done, I'm ready, I will become unstoppable. I'm going to give you 10 powerful rules to become truly unstoppable. No noise, no excuses, just pure fire. Let's begin. Rule 1. Stop demanding verification. Be dangerous in silence. The world has trained you to be loud before you become great, to announce your plans, to post your dreams, to show every move, every workout, every goal, every fake smile, every fake "I'm working on myself" update. Why? Because today it's easier to look successful than to be successful. And that's exactly why most people fail silently while pretending loudly. But here's the truth you won't hear from the fake motivational gurus. The moment you expose your dreams too early, the world starts pulling you down. People you thought would cheer for you, go quiet. Friends you trusted, start mocking you behind your back. Family that smiled when you were average, suddenly becomes uncomfortable when you start rising. Why? Because your growth exposes their laziness. Your ambition threatens their excuses. Your change reminds them that they've been standing still. And so they attack it. With judgment, with fake advice, with guilt and silence. That's why unstoppable people don't chase validation. They don't ask the world to clap. They disappear. They become invisible. Because they understand one thing. Power grows best in silence. The seed becomes a tree under the soil. The champion becomes great in the shadows. The beast becomes deadly away from the noise. Let me give you a real-world example. Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player of all time, was cut from his high school team. People laughed. Coaches doubted him. Even his own teammates didn't see greatness. He didn't post a motivational quote. He didn't announce revenge. He didn't complain. He just went home and trained in silence. Every single day, while others slept, partied, talked, he built. Years later, when the world finally saw what he had become, it was too late for them to stop him. That's what I want you to become. A silent killer. Someone so focused, so consistent, so obsessed, that by the time they see you, you've already won. But most people don't make it, because they're addicted to being seen. They want likes, they want comments, they want to go viral. But what they don't understand is, real success is allergic to noise. The more you talk, the more you expose your weakness. The more you show off, the more pressure you put on an identity you haven't earned yet. You don't need applause. You don't need followers. You don't need to tell anyone. You just need one thing: a brutal commitment to show up every single day. With no camera, no cheerleader, no trophy. Just you, in a dark room, doing the work. And when the world finally sees you, it's too late. You're already unstoppable. So the rule is simple. Stop seeking validation and start building in silence. That's how killers are made. Rule 2. Train your mind like a warrior, not a victim. Most people walk through life with a broken mind, not because they were born weak, but because no one ever taught them how to think like a warrior. They were taught how to feel, not how to fight. They were trained to escape pain, avoid discomfort, run from fear, complain when things go wrong, blame others when life gets hard. And that's why most people will never rise. Because you can have a powerful body, you can have money, you can have talent. But if your mind is soft, you will break. You will break the moment life gets hard. You will break the moment someone says no. You will break the moment your plans fall apart. You will cry, panic, freeze, and wait for someone to save you. That is not unstoppable. That is powerless. Now listen to me. If you want to become truly unstoppable, you have to turn your mind into a weapon, a steel machine, a battlefield so sharp and trained that no pain, no failure, no rejection, no loneliness, no insult, no heartbreak can stop you from moving forward. How? You train it like a soldier trains for war. A soldier doesn't get ready when the bullets start flying. He's already prepared, because he practiced the pain before the pain came. He built mental muscle before the fear arrived. And that's exactly what you need to do. Every day. Let me give you a brutal example. David Goggins, once a 300-pound exterminator, lazy, insecure, broken, became one of the toughest humans on the planet. But not by watching motivational videos. He did it by doing what most people refuse to do. Running in freezing cold with broken legs. Training through heart problems. Pushing past limits that most humans don't survive. Why? Because he knew that pain is the only way to kill weakness. And once you kill weakness, no one can stop you, not even you. But most people protect their weakness. They baby their mind. They say, I'm just not feeling it today. I don't want to burn out. Mental health is important. Yes, but comfort is not mental health. Avoidance is not healing. And giving in to every soft thought is not self-care. It's self-destruction. You need to suffer to become strong. You need to fight your own mind to win against the world. You need to wake up early when you want to sleep. You need to do one more rep when you want to quit. You need to say no to pleasure when it whispers, just once. Every time you do that, your mind becomes sharper, stronger, more deadly. And over time, you walk differently, you think differently, you speak with calm, move with purpose, breathe with power, because your mind has been trained, not to hope, not to wish, but to execute. This is not motivation. This is warfare. And if your mind is still soft, you'll be defeated before you even begin. So make the decision now. You will no longer be a victim of your thoughts. You will no longer allow fear to hijack your future. You will no longer be weak in your own mind. You will train every single day until your thoughts obey you. Because when your mind becomes your weapon, there is nothing in this world that can stop you. Not failure, not fear, not even death. Rule 3. Discipline is greater than motivation. Let's destroy the lie right now. You've been told your whole life that motivation will save you, that if you just stay inspired, if you just stay positive, everything will work out. But let me ask you this. Where is that motivation now? Where is that energy you had on New Year's Day? Where is that spark you felt after watching your favorite motivational video last month? Gone. Because motivation is a ghost. It disappears the moment real life punches you in the face. And that's why most people stay average. They build their entire life around feeling inspired, when they should have built it around discipline, which means doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like doing it. Discipline doesn't ask how you feel. Discipline doesn't ask what time it is. Discipline doesn't care if it's raining or if you're tired or if your friends are out partying. Discipline just moves because it has a job to do. Unstoppable people? They don't rely on hype. They rely on systems. They don't wait to feel ready. They just start, and then they don't stop. Let me give you a real example. Imagine two people. Both want to write a book. One of them waits for inspiration. They light candles, open a window, play soft music, and only write when the vibe is right. The other one sits down at 5 a.m. every day. No music, no comfort, no magic, just words, every single day. Guess who finishes the book? That's discipline. And that's what makes you unstoppable. Discipline is when you show up even when you're exhausted, work when everyone else is resting, push even when it hurts, keep going when no one is watching, say no to distractions, even when they feel good. Do you understand what that means? It means discipline is not a mood. It's not a wave of energy. It's not something you wait for. It's a decision. A brutal, lonely, powerful decision that you repeat every day until you become something no one can stop. Motivation will make you feel good for an hour. Discipline will build a life you don't need to escape from. So now ask yourself honestly, how many dreams have you delayed because you were waiting to feel like it? How many times have you said not today and promised yourself tomorrow? And what if tomorrow never comes? Because here's the truth. You don't need more motivation. You need more discipline. You need to become the kind of person who shows up, no matter what. That's the price of being unstoppable. You can either pay with pain now or regret forever. Rule 4. Fall in love with repetition. This rule will separate you from 99% of the world. Do you know why people fail? It's not because they don't have talent. It's not because they don't have opportunities. It's because they get bored. They start something. They see no results in 7 days, so they stop. Then they start something new. Again, no magic in a week, so they quit. They are addicted to novelty, but they hate repetition, and that's exactly why they will never win. Unstoppable people? They are in love with doing the same thing, over and over and over again. When everyone else complains about the routine, they build empires inside it. Let me give you an example that most people never see. Kobe Bryant, one of the greatest basketball players in history, used to show up at 4 a.m. and take the same shot hundreds of times, alone. No cameras, no audience, no coach begging him. Just him, the ball, the hoop, and the same motion, repeated 1,000 times. Why? Because mastery lives in repetition. Excellence is born through boredom, and greatness is a result of doing small things, thousands of times with precision. Think about it. You want to learn English fluently? Repetition. Get fit? Repetition. Grow on YouTube? Repetition. Build a business? Repetition. But most people say, I tried that. It didn't work. No, you didn't try long enough. You didn't do it enough times. You quit before the results showed up. You didn't fall in love with the boring part. And that's where greatness is hiding. Let me say it clearly. Winners do the same basic, boring, painful things for years until everyone else gives up. Then they rise. And people call them gifted. But the truth is, they were just obsessed with the repetition. Your life will never change until your habits change. And your habits will never stick until you learn to embrace the boring, painful, unseen, thankless repetition that no one claps for. Most people want the results. But the unstoppable ones? They fall in love with the reps. They lift the same weights, eat the same food, do the same work, say no to the same distractions. Write, record, build, fix, fight, repeat. And guess what? That repetition becomes rhythm. That rhythm becomes identity. And that identity becomes power. So if you want to be unstoppable, stop chasing excitement. Start chasing repetition. Because repetition makes it automatic. And automatic turns into unstoppable. The people who change the world don't do different things every day. They do the same things with obsession, focus, and fire until nothing and no one can stop them. Rule 5. Stop negotiating with your weakness. Execute without mercy. Here's the truth. You're not lazy. You're not lost. You're not broken. You're just in constant negotiation with the weakest part of yourself. And every day, you let it win. You wake up and the alarm goes off. The strong version of you says, "Get up." The weak version whispers, "Just 10 more minutes." And you listen. You say, "I'm going to work today. I'm going to get it done." But the weak part of you says, "Let's just do it tomorrow. We're tired." And you listen. You say, "This time I'm going to change my life." But when the work gets boring, when the results are slow, when no one claps for you, that voice shows up again and says, "What's the point?" And you listen. That is why you're stuck. Not because you're not smart, not because you're not capable, but because you have spent years negotiating with weakness. You gave it a seat at the table. You let it speak every morning. You let it explain why now isn't the time. You let it tell you you're tired, that you've already done enough, that life is hard. But you forgot one thing. Weakness doesn't need a conversation. It needs execution, swift, brutal, merciless execution. Unstoppable people don't negotiate with their comfort. They kill it. They bury it. They silence the voice that says, "Take it easy." And they replace it with the voice that says, "We're doing this, no matter how we feel, no matter how long it takes, no matter who watches. We're doing this." Let me give you a real example. There's a reason why Navy SEALs are among the most feared, respected, and unbreakable people on Earth. Not because they're stronger than the average person, but because they have zero tolerance for negotiation with weakness. During Hell Week, one of the most brutal trainings in the world, candidates are sleep-deprived, soaked in cold water, shouted at, broken physically and mentally. Most ring the bell. Most quit. But those who stay, they shut down the voice inside that says, "Quit." They don't argue with it. They don't comfort it. They crush it. And that is what makes them unstoppable. Now let me ask you, how many times a day do you negotiate with your weakness? How often do you skip the workout because you're tired, delay your dream because life is busy, procrastinate because you'll do it tomorrow? What has weakness ever given you except pain, regret, anxiety, guilt, and failure? It's time to end the deal. You don't owe your weakness respect. You don't owe it comfort. You owe it one thing: execution. When your alarm rings, get up. When your schedule says work, work. When the plan gets hard, finish it anyway. Because every time you do, you're building a mind that no longer negotiates. You're becoming the kind of person who doesn't need a pep talk. You're becoming the kind of person who finishes the mission, even if it's raining, even if you're alone, even if it hurts. And that's what unstoppable means. No deals, no talks, no softness, just execution. At all costs. Rule 6. Learn to suffer in private and never complain in public. This is going to hurt, but it's the rule that will separate you from 99% of the world. We live in a generation that tells you to talk about everything, to share your struggle, to be vulnerable online, to let it out, to express your pain. And yes, you should never hide your trauma. But here's the brutal truth. Most people don't want to heal. They want attention. They post their pain not to grow, but to be pitied. They talk about their problems not to solve them, but to be seen as victims. And that's why they stay stuck. Because every time life gets hard, they reach for sympathy instead of strength. Every challenge becomes a story. Every failure becomes a caption. Every heartbreak becomes a performance. But listen carefully. Unstoppable people suffer in silence. They bleed behind closed doors. They cry in private and train right after. They don't need the world to carry their pain because they've learned how to carry it themselves. When they fall, they don't post about it. They rise, quietly, powerfully, privately. You know why? Because strength isn't loud. Because warriors don't complain. They conquer. Because your struggle is not for the internet. It's for your own growth, your own evolution, your own transformation. Let me give you a real example. Tom Hardy, the actor known for his fierce roles in films like Warrior, The Dark Knight Rises, Mad Max, once struggled with drugs, violence, prison, and deep insecurity. He didn't turn into a motivational speaker. He didn't start a podcast. He didn't post sad reels about how life was unfair. He went to war with himself, alone. He rebuilt his mind. He trained his body. He fought his addictions, not in front of a crowd, but in the shadows. And when he came back, the world didn't recognize him, because the old him had died, and the new him, unstoppable. Now ask yourself, how often do you run to your phone instead of your discipline? How often do you post your struggle hoping for hearts and comments, instead of going to war with the problem itself? How often do you beg for people to feel bad for you, when deep down, you know you just need to get stronger? This is your call to rise above it. You don't need to be loud about your suffering. You don't need the world to understand your pain. What you need is silence, structure, and self-respect. Go suffer, go fail, go cry. But do it with your mouth shut and your fists clenched. Because when you learn to suffer in private and rise without applause, you become untouchable. Pain becomes power, tears become training, darkness becomes discipline. And that's the kind of human the world can't break. So stop complaining, stop performing, stop waiting for pity. You don't need it. What you need is a mirror and a vow. No matter what happens, I will never complain again. I will take the pain, I will use the pain, and I will build a life that turns suffering into fire. Because that's what unstoppable people do. And now it's your turn. Rule 7. Shut up and grind. Let's get one thing straight. You will never become unstoppable by talking. You will never become powerful by making plans. You will never change your life by thinking about it. The world does not reward intentions. The world rewards execution. And most people? They don't want to grind. They want to look like they're grinding. They want to wear gym clothes without training. They want to post quotes without living them. They want to say, I'm working on it without actually working. But unstoppable people? They don't need to announce. They don't need permission. They don't need applause. They shut the door, turn off the noise, and they grind, silently, obsessively, without feeling, without complaining, without breaks. You know why? Because the grind is not a mood. It's a way of life. The grind means working when it's boring, showing up when no one's watching, doing the work when you're tired, broken, and doubting everything. It means doing the same basic tasks over and over until they become dangerous. But here's the truth that will burn. Most people fail because they think talking is doing. They say, I'm planning to start. I'm getting ready. I'm researching. I'm building the strategy. Let me tell you something. A man with no skills and brutal action will always beat a smart man who just talks. Because the grind isn't about perfection. It's about volume. It's about getting in the reps, It's about getting bloody, sweaty, and bruised, while others make PowerPoints and manifest. Example? Look at Conor McGregor. Love him or hate him. The man came from nothing, working as a plumber, no connections, no handouts, no comfort. But what did he do? He shut his mouth, and he trained. Day after day, in silence, in darkness, in failure. He wasn't talking, he was grinding. And when he stepped into the cage, the world was shocked, because by the time they heard him, he had already built himself into a machine. That's the point. You don't need to talk. You don't need to post. You need to grind so violently, so consistently, so dangerously that your results become too loud to ignore. Now let me ask you, how much time have you wasted talking about your dreams instead of chasing them? How many hours have you spent watching others build while you scroll and say, one day? How many times have you said you need a break when in truth, you haven't even started? This is the line. This is the moment where you stop lying, stop planning, stop hoping, and start grinding. No more updates, no more mood swings, no more waiting for motivation. Get up, go dark, go silent, and grind like your future depends on it. Because it does. Rule 8. Destroy your excuses before they destroy you. Let's tell the truth. You don't need more time. You don't need more money. You don't need better conditions. You don't need support. You need to destroy your excuses. Because right now, they are the only thing standing between you and the life you were born to live. Excuses are lies. Beautifully packaged lies that sound reasonable when you're afraid, lazy, insecure, or unprepared. They sound like this. I'm too tired. I don't have the right setup. Now's not the right time. I have too much going on. No one's supporting me. I'm not ready yet. But every single excuse has one job: to protect your comfort zone. And the longer you feed them, the weaker you become. Excuses are not just annoying. They are dangerous. Because they sound innocent. They feel safe. They make you believe it's okay to delay greatness. But here's what you need to realize. Excuses don't protect you from failure. They guarantee it. Every time you make an excuse, you are building a wall around your potential. And one day, that wall becomes a cage, a mental prison you can't escape. You wake up and you're still behind. You watch others win while you say, they got lucky. You cry, and deep down you know. You didn't show up when it counted. That is what excuses do. They rob you quietly. They kill your future without making a sound. You know who doesn't make excuses? Single mothers working 2 jobs and still building a side business. Refugees who learn a new language from scratch and build a life. Athletes training with injuries, pain, and no support. Why? Because when you want it bad enough, you don't look for reasons to stop. You look for ways to start. Excuses are for the average. Excuses are for the defeated. Excuses are for people who want sympathy more than results. But you are watching this because you want something more. So this is what you must do. Kill your excuses. Cut them off at the root. Write them down and burn the paper, because they are not your identity. They are your enemy. And every second you believe them, they are stealing your destiny. You want to be unstoppable? Then accept this truth. No one cares about your excuses. The world doesn't care why you didn't win. It only sees whether you did or didn't. You either built something or you built an excuse. It's that simple. So next time you feel like saying, I'm tired, say this instead. Then I'll work tired. When you feel like saying, "I'm not ready," say this: "Then I'll start before I'm ready." Because every excuse you kill becomes a piece of power, and the more you destroy them, the more unstoppable you become. Rule 9. Believe you can, even when no one else does. This rule will define your entire future. It's the rule most people never follow, because it's the loneliest. When you believe in yourself before the world believes in you, it's painful. You walk with dreams no one understands. You carry ideas people mock. You wake up early, work late, stay consistent, and no one claps for you. They think you're wasting your time. They think you're crazy. They think you'll fail. And maybe you even start to believe them. But here's what you must understand. Every unstoppable person, every icon, legend, master, king, and queen was once just a person with a vision no one could see. They had no proof. They had no results. They had no applause. All they had was belief. Raw, lonely, unshakable, delusional belief. You know what belief is? Belief is building when nothing exists. Belief is walking into the dark with no light and saying, "I know there's something here." Belief is standing tall when the world tries to shrink you. Let me give you a real example. Walt Disney was told, not once, not twice, but over 300 times that his dream of Disneyland was impossible. He was rejected by investors. He was told it was childish. He was called unrealistic. He had no proof it would work. He had no guarantee. But he believed. And that belief, not luck, not money, not timing, built a dream that today brings joy to millions. Now let me ask you, when was the last time you believed in yourself when no one else did? When was the last time you stood in a room full of doubt and chose to back yourself anyway? Or have you been waiting? Waiting for support, waiting for the right time, waiting for signs. But what if no one ever supports you? What if no one ever claps? What if no one ever tells you you're doing great? Will you still keep going? Because that's the real test. Not how hard you can work when everyone's watching, but how long you can last when no one is. Unstoppable people, they walk through the silence. They crawl through the doubt. They bleed through the loneliness. And they whisper to themselves, "I don't care who believes in me. I believe in me. That's enough." This rule changes your life because it places the power back in your hands. You are not here to be liked. You are not here to be approved. You are not here to impress. You are here to become. And becoming starts the moment you say, "Even if no one walks with me, I'm going. Even if I'm the only one who believes, I will build." So right now, say it out loud, not for anyone else to hear, just for yourself. I believe in me, even if no one else does. I believe in me because I'm not done yet. Rule 10. Never quit, no matter what. This is the final rule, the last breath, the deepest cut, the ultimate truth. You want to be unstoppable? Then burn this into your soul. Never, ever quit, no matter how long it takes, no matter how painful it gets, no matter how lonely the road becomes, no matter how many times you fail, no matter how hopeless it feels. Never quit, because that's the only difference between the ones who make it and the ones who vanish. It's not talent. It's not education. It's not money. It's not timing. It's this. They stayed. They endured. They kept going. When others cried and turned back, they crawled forward. When others broke down and walked away, they screamed, bled, fought, and stayed. They were not the fastest. They were not the smartest. but they were the last ones standing. Let me give you a truth that will burn you inside. Most people quit just before it happens. They quit in month 6 of the grind, not knowing success was coming in month 7. They give up after 100 videos, not knowing video 101 was going to explode. They stop after 5 failed business ideas, not realizing the 6th one would change their life. And then they spend the rest of their life saying, I almost made it. But almost is the graveyard of dreams. You don't want that life. You don't want to be 60 years old, sitting in silence, remembering the day you gave up. You don't want to lie to your children and say, I could have been great. You want to say, I bled for it. I fought for it. I stayed. And because I never quit, I became unstoppable. Want another real example? Colonel Sanders, the founder of KFC, was rejected 1,009 times when he tried to sell his chicken recipe. He was 65 years old. He had no money. He had no support. But he had something most people don't. He never quit. And because of that, today, over 24,000 KFC stores exist around the world. You may be broke. You may be tired. You may be ignored. But if you never quit, it's only a matter of time before the world must respect you. Because pain passes, fear passes, doubt passes. But quitting? That stays with you forever. So, from this day forward, no matter what comes your way, failure, heartbreak, hunger, lack of support, haters, loss, loneliness, you will look it in the eye and say, I will not quit. I may cry, I may fall, I may crawl, but I will never quit. Because that's the only way to become unstoppable. And now, it's your turn. You've heard the rules. You've felt the fire. You've faced the truth. Now listen to this, and never forget it. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you the life you dream about. No one is going to knock on your door and say, here's success, here's happiness, here's peace. You have to go get it. You have to fight for it. You have to bleed for it. And you have to do it alone. Not because the world is cruel, but because the world respects only those who earn it. So from this moment on, no more I'm tired. No more I can't. No more maybe tomorrow. No more waiting. No more fear. No more excuses. You will rise. With fire in your chest and silence in your soul. You will rise when it hurts. You will rise when you're doubted. You will rise. Even if your hands are shaking, your knees are weak, and your heart is broken. Because that's what unstoppable means. It means you become the storm. You become the beast. You become the one that life can't break. No matter how hard it tries. So go. Go build the life no one believes you can. Go create the version of you that they said was impossible. Go make your future self proud. Because the truth is, if you don't fight for your dream, no one will. If you don't believe in you, no one will. And if you don't do it now, you may never do it. Say it now, out loud, whisper it, shout it, cry it. I am not finished. I am not done. I am not weak. I am not average. I am not stopping. I am not giving up. I am not backing down. I am unstoppable. And from this moment forward, you will live like it.
Like, share, and subscribe to our channel.